Welcome back, everybody, to the Figures and Flippy Shit Wrestling Podcast.
I'm Susan.
I'm Chris, and we're going to talk about major storylines that happened in WWE and AEW this week. Before we get started, yes, I know Ring of Honor has been awesome, and we'd love to talk about it, but we just don't have time to watch it. Ring of Honor comes on Thursdays. Usually we're catching up with Raw on Thursdays. And plus, even if we watched Raw on Monday, that's like our one time off through the week. So if we can find a way to work it in where it's not just, crushing all the time we have out of us, we'll certainly take a look at it. Mm-hmm. But what we might end up doing is if we do have time, we might just end up watching it at our leisure and then just noting if we see anything significant. Yeah. But we'll go ahead and start with the major stories of this week. So the Bloodline story this week has taken yet more turns. Yes. So on Raw this week, we've been asking the question, where does Jey stand? Does Jey stand with Sami? Does Jey stand with the Bloodline? And even then, by the end of the week, it's still not super clearly defined. Yeah. We'll start with what happened on Raw. And basically what happened was, the whole day was built up, we need to find Jey. If we don't find Jey, Roman's going to blame Jimmy, and Jimmy's going to be in a world of hurt. Jey showed up on Raw. Jey gets in the ring, and Jey Uso's acting through this whole story has been fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So Jey gets in the ring. He's staring longingly at Jimmy, looking at him, grabs his shirt. It was very drawn out, but I feel like it was warranted with the way the story's been told. Mm-hmm. So Jey walks past Jimmy and even takes a minute to do that. Gets down there, hugs Sami, and then just as at the crowd, I think at the fever pitch of their reaction to this happening, Jey pulls the trigger and super kicks Sami right in the face. Yes. And I don't know about you, but I felt the force of 1,000 hearts breaking across the country. It was crazy. So then Cody Rhodes came out to bail out Sami. So Cody and Sami have kind of been working together since KO doesn't want to do it. Yeah, because on Raw, Sami again tried to get him, KO to work with him, and KO turned him down. Yeah, KO's just not having it. No. Which I don't blame him. No, because and it's great because this is why long-term storytelling is so great. Is because Kevin Owens literally was pulling examples of hey, this happened and this happened and this is why. Yeah. So this is why long-term storytelling is important because you need nuggets to pull from the past. Yeah. So let's fast forward to SmackDown. So SmackDown, they showed up at the beginning. The show was bookended by the Bloodline. Mm-hmm. There was a outer ring opening segment where the Usos showed up. Yeah. And then we get to the main event segment, and we get to Jey and Jimmy in the ring, and Jey talks about how what would you do if it was your family? And the little line that sneaks in there, and Jimmy didn't react to it, which I thought was interesting. But at one point, Jey actually said, "I didn't want to." We were there at the show for SmackDown, and I didn't even realize Jey said that. Yeah, I didn't even hear him say that. Yeah, I checked back online to make sure I'd heard correctly, and he did. So okay. Jey is still conflicted after all this. He's clearly attacking Sami. Because it's just his family. Yeah, he's doing it to protect Jimmy. But the way that it's being told and the way that Jey has kind of handled this whole thing, it does seem like that Sami got to him talking about how Roman's manipulative and abusive and just all around not treating them very well. Yeah. So I do think there's still some unfinished business with Jey and Roman. And I kind of wonder if we're going to visit that at SummerSlam. Because that's how this whole thing started. At SummerSlam? Was not necessarily at SummerSlam, but Roman trying to get Jey to fall in line. Yeah. And be under him. So this would be a really nice way to book in the story. Yeah. But I think what they've done with this story is the main issue that WWE has had over the past several years that a lot of people will point to is that WWE has not done very well at building good baby faces. and now they have 2.
Yeah.
Sammy and Cody, we were there live. The reactions are massive. They are, when you're in the building and there's a Sammy or a Cody pop, because I would give the edge at Sammy's is a little bit louder.
Really? I was thinking Cody's was. But whenever Sammy came out on SmackDown, it was very, like, sudden.
Yeah.
So I don't really know if... I didn't even realize he was out there until you said something.
Yeah, because you were sitting there stewing because you were like, I can't believe we're getting Cody over Sammy. And I told you the whole show, I was like, Sammy's a SmackDown guy. He's a main player in the story. I was like, you're going to get your Sami Zayn. And then as you're sitting there stewing, I see this black hoodie racing through the crowd.
I would like to say, it's not that I was stewing. I was literally trying to see around everybody else standing up.
Okay, valid point.
Yes.
Valid point. But anyway.
Take the negative out of it.
Okay.
I wasn't stewing.
Okay, well, anyway, you're sitting there, and I see this black hoodie racing through the crowd. And it was so funny because, like, I couldn't put words together. Like, my response was literally, look! Like, that's all I could get out. Mm-hmm. And, like, he slid into the ring. Sammy did his thing. Cody stripped to get a beat down there.
I love how wrestlers, their logic. I gotta take off my shirt.
I love the fact that most wrestlers, it's just rip off a t-shirt and done. Cody has to take off a jacket, take off a tie, then take off a shirt. Like,
take off that.
Like it's like
tattoo.
Cody. I realize you want to look good, and you do look good in a suit. But you know, if you're going in there looking for a fight, maybe we wear less clothes.
Hasn't he always worn a suit though?
Yeah, it's always kind of been his thing.
Yeah,
it's always been his thing, which is fine. He looks good in a suit. I can't blame him.
You just really love Cody Rhodes.
I do. I like Cody Rhodes. He fascinates me.
Yeah.
Just how his mind works, the way he operates, the way he talks. I'm not talking about his list, I'm talking about the way he puts together sentences.
I didn't even think that until you said that.
I just think he's it wasn't you I was worried about. I just think he's a fascinating dude.
Yeah.
You know, to build a company and then go back to the competition. Like, I want to know what that thought process was. You know,
I can tell you.
I'm intrigued. I know that.
Money.
I know that.
that was the thought process for that.
I know that.
I don't have to change to a heel and I get more money. Mm-hmm. I win.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get to go back and win the title my dad never did.
Yeah.
I think that's tertiary, though. I think that's.
I don't think that was the forefront.
The
yeah, if I'm thinking Cody was thinking Cody Rhodes whenever he made the decision, which he should.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, he was money on the mind. That's why he went back.
Yeah. So it definitely seems like for WrestleMania, I still think that we're eventually gonna get KO and Sammy back together. But with WrestleMania being 3 weeks away, I'm a little worried that they might have played the long game a little long and they might rush to put those two back together.
Sammy and KO?
Yeah.
They could do it the week before and it would still make sense. I don't see how it's rushing it. Okay. They've had this story going with them.
Okay. My thing is just KO has just been so adamantly against it. I don't see how he turns his view around in the span of a week. But I get that we're kind of chipping away. I was going to say,
but by that logic, then Drew McIntyre and Sheamus shouldn't be feuding. Because that came out of left field.
That I do have a little bit of an issue with because that did seem to come out of left field.
Yeah.
I like the matches and the moments that it's produced, but I think we could have been working a little bit more.
Well, whenever we get to them, I'll give my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
But
so
but you were the bloodline.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all there is to discuss about the bloodline this week. I mean, it's the main story that's, you know, moving full speed ahead. And I actually saw a question on a thread the other day that I hadn't really thought about, but I'm very curious, and I want to know if you have any ideas. What's WWE's next long-term story after the bloodline ends? What's going to be their hook?
WWE only focuses on Roman Reigns, so if he's not, if he's only going to be there averaging once a month, I don't know if they even have a plan yet. They've only done long-term storytelling with Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
He's like their prized jewel, but he's only there, like I said, once a month on average, so like they're going to have to find somebody new.
Yeah. I tell you what I'd like to see, and this goes for both companies, I would love to see more long-term storytelling with the women.
Yeah.
Because there is storytelling with the women, don't get me wrong, but I would love to see like a woman's story built with that much intrigue and that much
I
build
kind of
up.
feel like that's what they're trying to do with the homegrown on AEW, with the homegrowns and the outcasts. I mean, that's a kind of like a slow build of what's going on.
I kind of wonder how that's gonna end. Like I agree with something that I saw on.
I feel like the
think
originals need to win.
Well, yeah, they need to go over at the end. But I definitely feel like that it should build to a blood and guts match, and I think you could do enough storytelling with it to warrant that. But we'll talk about that when we get to the AEW discussion. So that takes care of the Bloodline story for the week. So let's look at some of the other championship stories that are going on with WWE. Let's start with the U.S. title. John Cena was on Raw this week.
Destroyed Austin Theory.
Yeah. I really like when Cena comes around because I like Cena's purpose in WWE at this point. Come in, build up a fun match, put over the younger guy.
Yeah.
And he's
annihilate the younger match or the younger talent in a promo. It's like their initiation.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna
annihilate. The same thing happened with Roman Reigns against John Cena.
It's like I'm gonna annihilate you in a promo, but you're gonna go over in the match and you're gonna learn something along the way.
Yeah.
Because look at Roman. Look what Roman's promo power is now.
Granted, I mean, he has a Paul Heyman to help, but...
Yeah, but against Cody last week, he was on his own.
True.
Yeah. So I am excited about Theory and Cena, and somebody posted something the other day that I saw that was very interesting. John Cena posted a picture of Austin Theory on his Instagram all the way back in 2018. Like when Austin Theory was just getting started.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like probably Vince had something to do with that. I just can't see that happening. I feel like Vince controlled everything, though. So, like, I'm probably completely off base, but I don't know.
I just think it's interesting that was posted all the way back in 2018, and here we are now. Like,
yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
But, you know, Cena won the promo battle, but I think Austin Theory held his own better than Roman did at that time that he was faced off with Cena.
No, I agree. It wasn't that Austin Theory did terrible. It's just I think John Cena got the upper hand in that. I
think what helps too is Cena sounds natural.
He does.
He comes across very natural.
Yeah.
On a promo. Like sometimes promos can come off kind of stilted, like
Charlotte Flair's pretty
hers are
like
pretty
that.
stilted.
Yeah.
But Cena just comes off natural. Like, Cena sounds like a conversation.
Yeah.
As he's having with somebody.
Somebody else, a woman that I think is really good at that is Bayley.
Yeah.
Because granted, hers isn't really a conversation. It's more like being a shithead. But she's very, she feels very natural.
Yeah.
On the mic.
And I think that needs to be kind of the promo style going forward, because what we saw happen with Rhea Ripley on SmackDown, which was idiotic.
The freaking what chance?
Rhea got what?
They're so stupid.
And I think the best way to defeat those is to just not leave pauses in your promos, because that's where they get them in there.
I love Pittsburgh. We are always a part of the Pittsburgh crowds, but the Pittsburgh crowds are kind of shitty at times.
I think back to Extreme Rules when Rollins and Ziggler were putting on that Iron Man match, and all the crowd cared about was counting down like it was the damn Royal Rumble.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like that was just a Pittsburgh thing where they were wanting Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, because that wasn't warranted.
Because there were cheers. We had dark matches with Bayley and Bianca Belair, and the fans were cheering. Like, they had a chant going for Bianca Belair to cut her hair. There was and it was just, I guess it's always towards the women. I just now realized that. So basically, Pittsburgh's still sexist at times. Wrestling fans, at least. But I mean, I get it. Pittsburgh is surrounded by West Virginia. And kind of...
Well, what's funny is that doesn't happen to Britt Baker.
Well, Britt Baker is
I know. What I'm saying is if you're from there, you're fine.
Yeah. Well, that's very Pittsburgh-like.
Yeah, it is.
Pittsburgh is rude to outsiders, but if you're from there, they're very welcoming.
Yeah.
But basically, I'm trying to say, Pittsburgh, get it together. I want wrestling to keep coming back. Don't be somebody that ruins it.
Speaking of the women, we touched on the U.S. title match. Let's go ahead and touch on the women's matches. I've seen a lot of reaction online that they feel that the women's builds have been lackluster, that they haven't been built as well as the men's, and I would agree with that. But at the same time...
Are we talking WWE still?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
While I tend to agree with that, I think the matches are going to be banging.
I just feel like it's 2023 and people still don't fully know how to book women.
Mm-hmm.
And that blows my mind. They have the same training as men.
Mm-hmm.
They can do the same thing as men. They train with men.
Yeah.
Stop treating them like they're going to freaking break.
You could tell the same stories.
I know. Like, why does it have to be different for the women?
Mm-hmm.
Who cares if one has a P and one has a V?
I think, honestly, what makes it hard is there's still so many places that they go for wrestling that just don't respect or get into the women, and it makes it hard to see what's sticking and what's working.
Well, do you know how to fix that? Give them good matches, give them quality time, give them feuds to build.
I know, I'm not disagreeing with you.
I know, I'm not saying you're not. I'm just saying that would help fix it.
It would.
So.
It would. And now, I will say, I think one of the better told stories for women recently was the Bianca Belair Becky Lynch story from last year. That was told well.
But that involves Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch is loved by all.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of Becky Lynch, let's go to the women's tag title scene. So we have essentially built, for WrestleMania, we're going to have Trish Stratus, Lita, and Becky Lynch against Damage Control. The tag team championships aren't on the line, as far as we know.
Well, that makes no sense.
Those tag titles are strange.
Why is it so hard for women to have tag titles? Why is this it's like rocket science for bookers? Like, I don't understand.
I think it's just so many titles. Because you have, in WWE, you combine the two world titles, but normally you have those separate.
But everybody's first thought, though, is to get rid of the women's title. Why not decrease the men's titles?
Now, for me, I thought, rather than a women's tag team titles, I thought a women's mid-card title would work better. But
if people knew how to book women, they could do both.
They could. They absolutely could.
WWE had this awesome pay-per-view with just women, and it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do it again. They were like, yeah, we're good. But that showcased the women.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been a way to get them over. Mm-hmm. That could have been a way to get people invested. It's like, they don't know how, nobody, WWE and AEW, Impact, I feel like does a pretty good job with women.
Yeah. I'll say this. I think that with Triple H in charge of creative, if Stephanie McMahon didn't leave the company, I think we would have got another Evolution.
Yeah, I just feel like women still are seen as sex objects a lot in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why? They wear more clothes than the men half the time. Like Finn Balor used to come out in just a freaking Speedo with the gray things that you could clearly see his area. Mm-hmm. But women are sexualized.
In that Fatal 5-Way for the Intercontinental title, Woods was the only one wearing long pants.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, but women are sexualized. Mm-hmm. I'm going to start sexualizing men.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to start doing that.
I'm interested to see who you do this with.
I could do it with everybody. Mm-hmm. I can't think of anybody right now, but I'm going to start.
Yeah, the women's tag titles are still kind of an enigma. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I get
the
why
NXT.
Sasha Banks. I get why. Mercedes Moné now, but then Sasha Banks walked out.
Yeah,
I probably would have too.
Yeah, because you were going to take the two people that had those championships, you were going to job them out to Ronda Rousey. That's understandable. I would be a little pissed off.
And if reports are correct, Sasha Banks already had an issue with how Ronda Rousey was booked. Mm-hmm. If that's actually true and correct, what came out about how she got mad, how she was booked.
Yeah.
So that's like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
So I guess every week I talk about this. Women need more respect in wrestling. Mm-hmm. I am going to keep advocating for this until it starts to happen. And I'm annoying. I can do this. I will not stop until I get my way.
I'll agree with you on the annoying part. So yeah, women's tag title scene's always a question mark.
Yeah.
And I already made clear last week, Becky and Lita being the champs, I'm not really into it. Not really into it. Because I know Lita's not sticking around long term. It'd be different if, like, Lita was sticking around and Lita was going to be full-time again, like Edge. Then it would make more sense. Then I'd probably be more okay with it.
But even then, I love Edge. He had quite a few years taken away from him because of his injury. I still don't think he deserves a title just because. But my thing, though, is the older talent should pave the way for the younger and not take the spotlight away. That's my thing. But
I'm
Edge,
sure.
It's different. I'm very conflicted about Edge because he had to stop, so he didn't really get the time to shine for a little bit. And it wasn't his choice, so I'm very conflicted about Edge. I don't know.
Okay, let me ask you about a similar situation. How do you feel about Bryan Danielson?
I knew you were going to say that. I was like, don't you dare. But Bryan Danielson, he's known for going above and beyond to put over the younger talent. Mm-hmm. So I don't understand that comparison.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. You don't really like it when the older guys get titles like that. Are you okay with them fighting for titles, even if they don't win?
Yes.
Okay.
I just don't like... I don't care if they shine, just don't get the spotlight. Mm-hmm. I'm all for everybody shining, most people. Mm-hmm. There's some I would take out of the picture, but for the most part, I'm fine with everybody shining. It's just, you shouldn't get the spotlight. If you've had your time to shine and you're against the younger talent, I think they should do it the way Bryan Danielson does, honestly. Because Bryan Danielson wants to elevate. And then Bryan Danielson is going home to his kids, to his family.
I think there's instances where an older guy having the title can help. My main example for that, Jericho was the right choice for the first AEW champion.
Yeah, because I got eyes on it.
Yeah, that was the correct choice.
I guess right now my big beef is Jeff Jarrett. That's what it stems down to.
Well, do you want to save that for the AEW
We'll save it.
discussion?
We'll put
a pin in that.
We'll wrap up WWE talk and then we can go to AEW. So
that works. So the Intercontinental title picture. So there was a fatal 5-way with honestly a lot of dudes that I really like. Xavier Woods was in there. LA Knight, of course, which LA Knight got a pop in Pittsburgh. That made me happy. Keep the pops coming for LA Knight because that dude is great.
Yeah.
Karrion
Kross has a badass entrance.
It's really cool to see live, too.
It is cool. Like, it's cool on the screen because it's like the black and white, but in person, it's cooler too.
Like you can see him coming up behind Charlotte, but to not Charlotte, Scarlett. I'm so sorry, Scarlett. But when he's coming up behind her, like you could see it, but the way he does it, like he creeps in, like hunching.
It's really cool.
It is really neat to look at.
It's very theatrical in a way.
Yeah, Karrion Kross probably has top 3 best entrances in wrestling right now.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's a spectacle.
It is.
I don't think he's nearly as interesting in the ring, but
we haven't really had time. We haven't really gotten to watch him shine though. His matches.
Well, he's feuded with Drew and he's feuded with Ray.
God, I guess I kind of forgot.
Yeah, he's been back for a while. But his entrance is fantastic.
Yes, but anyway, we had him. Who else did we have in the match though?
That was it. Karrion Kross, LA Knight, Xavier Woods. Oh, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre.
Yes.
So this match was pretty fun.
Which, my thoughts on Drew and Sheamus. I like them both. If you wanted them to feud, I don't think they should have been in this picture. I think you could have done something between the two of them, booked it better, not make them turn each other randomly in a week. And they could have done their own thing and had a really good match. And then you could have had other people in this. I guess I just feel like with Drew and Sheamus in this, they were only in it to go against each other. So why did they have to be in this? I don't know. And then they both won, and it's
yeah, one of them pinned LA Knight, and the other I think pinned Xavier Woods. I think was the other person that was pinned. I believe.
I don't remember.
So it was either him or Karrion Kross. But I know LA Knight was one of them.
So, but it's just kind of did they really have to be in that match? Why couldn't they just have a feud by themselves? If you wanted to turn them against each other, I think it would have been better and more personal if they went off on a few by themselves. They could have booked that to be an excellent match at the end. So I don't really agree with how they booked this.
Yeah. But it definitely seems like we're one of them. Well, clearly at this point, one of them is going to go against
I hope it's
Gunther.
Drew. Because we already had Sheamus. They had good matches. They had a 5-star match. And I know they have good chemistry together, but we've seen it. I don't want to repeat it. I hope it's Drew then.
Yeah.
If it has to be one of the two of them, I myself would have chosen like LA Knight to go against him. Just because LA Knight has been campaigning for weeks now about wanting to get on the show.
I wish...
Or Xavier.
I wish we would have gone with a
Or Carrion.
Anybody. I wish we would have gone with a 6-way ladder match with those 5 guys and Gunther. That's what I think really would have... I would have
ladder
really
matches though.
I would, but would that have not have been a sick match?
It would have. I guess I just don't like how they booked this, and I don't like how Sheamus and Drew were booked in it. I don't care if they were in it. I like them. It's just how they were booked in the match I don't agree with, and I feel like you could have done that separately.
What I did like though was they never traded hands in this match. Like there was a couple times that it was teased, but they never did trade hands. So they're definitely holding that moment for later, which is going to be next week when they go one-on-one. Winner fights Gunther. And let me just say, Gunther cut a promo afterwards where he was talking about like how he doesn't want challengers, he wants a challenger, singular. And for not being his first language, Gunther's is very well spoken.
He even he was like, I know that English is not my...
He called it his native tongue.
I was going to say native language, but native tongue, yeah.
Yeah. But Gunther is so well spoken. And when he talks, I listen.
Imperium is just so in sync. Like Gunther with, I don't remember their names.
Kaiser and Vinci.
Like those 3 together, they're so like, they're like a well-oiled machine. Like they just flow so well. And they're so like, I don't know.
They are. I love Imperium.
Yeah.
I love everything about them. I love everything they do. I love what they stand for.
Yeah.
I love Imperium.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite faction's probably still the Bloodline, but Imperium's right up there.
Mine would probably be... See, I like the Bloodline mainly for Sami Zayn. I like the Usos. I like Roman Reigns, but I'm not like... I don't love them like I love Sami Zayn. My second, I love Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Dominic...
Oh, this
just does something to me. I don't know what it is.
This leads perfectly into the next thing we need to talk about. When you said you wanted to make men sexualized, I don't think you meant Dominic.
Not Dominic, no.
Speaking of which, though, this leads into our probably the last main roster thing that we need to discuss. There are other things going on. We're still teasing Otis being in the Maximum Male Models, but we're going to kind of focus on the major stories right now. And this last one, it was announced while we were at SmackDown that Rey Mysterio is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Good for Rey Mysterio.
There was a nice "you deserve it" chant.
There was. I've been watching Rey Mysterio wrestle since I was 10 years old.
I didn't watch wrestling when I was younger, but I knew who he was.
Yeah. Which is crazy because I've been watching him since I was 10 years old. So that was 26 years ago. He had already been wrestling 8 years before I found him.
It was like that one time when he came back from the Indies or something, and he came back to WWE, and before that, he came back to WWE, and the crowd was like, "You still got it?" And I was like, "You guys, you clearly just watched WWE.
Yeah.
He's been doing things this whole time.
Yeah, he just
why would he lose it?
He just tore it up with Bandito and All In,
But yeah, you still got it, Ray. WWE fans.
But we did some more teasing. Ray was getting ready to give a speech, and then Dominic came out and. Oh man, the live heat on Dominic.
I don't know.
Real.
I don't know if people actually. I mean, I know some people do not like him at all, but some people truly hate Dominic. But at the same time, you have to give him credit where credit's due. If you look at him when he first came into WWE, well, with Ray teaming up, to now, he's improved so much on the mic. Whenever he went up against Charlotte Flair last week, still, I say that he owned that. Charlotte Flair did not. She made the one line about the penis size to him, and that's the one good thing she said the whole time. But Charlotte Flair, I'm getting off topic, but Charlotte Flair needs to work on her promo skills. It's very mechanical, and she likes to yell. So, lower your voice and don't sound like you're a robot. keep the wrestling, because I love Charlotte Flair.
Mm-hmm.
Keep the wrestling the same.
Dude, I forgot. It's been a while since we've seen Charlotte Flair live.
Mm-hmm.
But she, like, when you're live and she comes, she feels important.
She does.
She feels absolutely important. And sitting at home, it's easy to say, like, oh, I'm so tired of Charlotte. I'm sure everybody is.
Right.
But when you go there live, Charlotte still gets the reaction.
She does.
Like, I heard her pop when she came out, and I was like, this is why Charlotte is still regular featured.
It was pretty loud. It was,
yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like Cody Rhodes loud, probably, but it was pretty loud.
And Charlotte does seem fun. Like, they do this dance cam in between commercials, and Charlotte was on the dance cam.
She was dancing the whole time in the ring, like everybody. She was talking to the fans, like dancing with them, and like. But speaking of that, Charlotte's a face now, and I don't like Charlotte as a face. She just screams heel.
She works better as a heel, like her old man.
She must be really nice in person that she just screams heel in wrestling.
Her and Becky Lynch do have that beef.
But that doesn't mean that she's not a nice person.
No, that's true. That's true. Because everything that I've heard, based on people that have met her, have said she's nice.
Right, and I feel like it's very easy to get competitive in the wrestling world because it depends so much on fan reception and getting over. And those two were the two biggest women. Mm-hmm. What, are they the two biggest women in WWE still?
I would say so, yeah. I think WWE would like you to believe that Ronda Rousey is, but I think Charlotte and Becky both
Ronda Rousey wrestling ruins that for her being the biggest one.
I think Charlotte and Becky eclipse her, and I don't think Bianca Belair is that far behind.
No.
Because we had our two dark matches were Gunther versus Butch. And
Which
Bianca
bring Butch back, please.
And Bianca versus Bayley.
So wait, I want to interrupt you though, because whenever Butch was wrestling this, I don't know, somebody in the stands cracked me up because Butch was on the outside of the ring, and Gunther had his arm over, and Butch got his hand, and somebody was like, "Uh-oh!" What did he say?
He's like, Gunther, he's doing the finger thing.
And he said that a couple times, and it was just so funny.
Yeah, at one point, Butch went to do it again, and he was like, "It's the finger!" But
oh my gosh, we're getting so off topic.
Yeah,
we started out with Dominic.
But anyway, in that dark match, Bianca got the loudest pop of all four of them.
Yeah, well,
Bayley got good fan interaction though, because people love to boo Bayley.
Bayley is such a good heel. Then the dark match, Bianca and Bayley wrestled, and I'm not gonna lie, going into it, I was like, well, I knew Bayley was gonna be there because I saw her walk in whenever we were going inside. I was like, Bayley's here, so I knew she was gonna show up at some point. But they had really good chemistry, and I kind of wonder if it's because Damage Control wasn't with her. And she did it on her own.
It was more of a one-on-one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they actually, for a dark match, they put together a pretty good match.
It was a really good match, and Bayley was like screaming at fans. She told us this one guy was standing up yelling at her at one point, and she was like, sit down! And he sat down, and she was like, thank you, or
she said, that's what I thought.
That's what I thought. So it's like Bayley is so good at a heel, but I've heard she's like an awesome person. So like...
Yeah, she's still friends with a lot of people outside the company.
Yeah.
She's
kind of like a lot of the female wrestlers kind of go to her, I think, for help and stuff.
Yeah.
Like NXT wrestlers, I mean. So.
Yeah. But yeah, we gotta backtrack.
Oh yeah.
Because we were talking about Dominic.
Yeah, I got distracted by Charlotte Flair.
Yeah. But yeah, Ray was gonna give a speech. Dominic came out and interrupted it. Yeah. And even you were like, I wanted to hear that speech, and I was like, that was the point.
I did. Dominic came out and they were talking for a little bit. I mean, I got pumped because I love Rhea Ripley. She came out, and I love Finn Balor. Ooh, I could objectify him because he has a big package, I feel like. But
I mean, he always thrusts it out there.
And in those gray Speedo gear that he has.
Oh man.
What?
It must be a thing with gray, because I came across something a while back where apparently women love to see guys as junk in gray sweatpants or something.
I can attest
That's
to
a
that.
thing.
I can attest to that.
That's a thing. But anyway.
That's so dirty.
Yeah. This really got off topic.
But anyway, back to Dominic though. Whenever Ray couldn't finish that, they all came out, they were
Legado del Fantasma.
Yes. They came out, and I just wanted to hear Ray's speech. God damn it!
Yeah.
Even at the end of it, I was like, oh, we don't know what he was going to say. And you were like, I don't think we're going to get that, dear. Like,
No, we're
think
not.
We're getting that.
We're not. But anyway, they had their match, and not only did Judgment Day, it was Judgment Day and Legado del Fantasma. Not only did Judgment Day win, but Dominic got the pin, which brought all the heat back on. And what was so funny was during the match, Judgment Day would try to keep the crowd involved.
All that Dominic had to do was raise his hands in the air.
Well, at one point, Finn raised his hands, and there were boos.
Yeah.
Priest raised his hands, they were boos. Right after Priest did it, Dominic did it, and the volume doubled on the spot for the boos.
I'm not advocating for child abuse, but I've never wanted a father to punch their son so much in my life.
I've seen a lot of that. Like somebody saying that they've done a really good job building this story because I'm actually advocating for a father to punch his son.
I know. I just want Dominic to get punched by Ray so bad.
But he did finally get a one-up on Dominic without
He did.
hitting him. Because after the match, Dominic called him in. He's like, I want to have a heart-to-heart.
Yeah.
And then what was funny was Dominic was like, they're going to let some poor washed-up old man in the Hall of Fame. And you literally looked at me and you were like, that's the point of the Hall of Fame.
I know.
And I saw a comment online where somebody was like, guys, Dom was in prison a long time. We're lucky he even knows what the Hall of Fame is. Like
his 5 seconds in prison. And now he has the tear and
I know
everything.
for a lot of people it's worn thin, but I really love ex-con Dom. It's one of my favorite things.
I agree. Totally.
But Dominic went to attack Ray, and all Ray did was just duck and pull the rope down, and Dominic went flying over.
Yeah.
And we all reacted like Ray punched him in the face. So whenever Ray finally throws that first punch, that's going to be probably one of WWE's loudest pops. It's going to be right up there with Cody and Sammy. Because they just built that. It's another long-term story. I guess you could call this another long-term story.
Yeah.
Because Dominic turned on Ray forever ago.
Yeah.
And we're still teasing it and still building it. So
yeah.
And I love having long-term story going on because you build to those big pops, and that's what makes wrestling fun. You and I have been there live now, and there were some huge pops last night. Is there anything better than being involved in one of the loudest pops?
No.
Maybe
singing Judas.
Yeah, there's no better feeling than that. So that's, I think, going to cover WWE stories this week for the main roster.
Yeah, I was going to say NXT. I took Tiffany Stratton on NXT. She reminds me of... She kind of reminds me of an Elle Woods pre-Harvard. Do you know what I mean?
I could see it.
Like, just the way she talks, the way she acts, like, the way she dresses. Well, not maybe the way she dresses, but I guess, like, in wrestling, she dresses the way Elle Woods would. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. She just screams Elle Woods to me. Just give her the little dog. What was the dog's name?
Bruiser.
Bruiser. Just give her Bruiser, and she could literally be Elle Woods. Mm-hmm. But I like it.
I think, little behind the scenes, I think the fact that I came up with his name so quickly is probably going to pop our editor. He'll probably find that funny that I do it so quickly.
Well, we recently watched the Legally Blonde movies, and Chris is a fan.
I do like the Legally Blonde. I like the first Legally Blonde movie. The first one is, but I really enjoy the first one.
Yeah. Well, we also had on NXT, we had Kiana James doing something sneaky behind her redneck man's back.
Brooks Jensen?
Yep. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
The redneck with the
mullet.
You
always have trouble remembering Brooks Jensen's name.
I just know he's the redneck with the mullet.
Yeah.
That's all I remember about him.
Yeah.
But she has a card, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, she got some roses.
That did not come from Brooks Jensen.
Yeah. Which is funny because, like, Briggs mentioned it to him, and he didn't even mention it. Like, he didn't say that he didn't send him. He didn't acknowledge it.
He's like, I don't care about the flowers.
And then you were like, I think it was you were like, he didn't send those flowers. And then right after, Fallon Henley was like, he didn't send those flowers.
Girl intuition. And I even have a note here. I'm obsessed. It's going to get Real Housewives up in here. But I left the L off it's just going to get Real Housewives up in here.
Oh, yeah, you did. That's funny.
We had Dijak and Tony D'Angelo. They had a good match together.
Yeah, it was a jailhouse street fight. And I don't know that I've ever seen a match like that before. Where you had to, like, lock him in the cell.
Dijak, I literally thought that Dijak's gimmick was that he was a prison guard. And then the announcers were even like, kind of big or boss man or something.
Yeah, they said he went to Cobb County to get his training.
Yes.
Which is Cobb County, Georgia, was where the Big Boss Man was from.
Yes, so that was cool. So.
I feel like he's like an '80s like street justice type. He's kind of like the Terminator, but human.
I remember Dijak Black and Gold NXT days, and I want to see that fighting like he did back then, which this match came close to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, a lot of those really good matches he had were with Keith Lee.
But he can still put on matches.
No, he can. He's a fantastic wrestler. I remember the NXT live event we went to where he was facing Ciampa, and the night started with people saying who.
That was his.
And by the end, we all loved him. That was the night I fell in love with Dijak. That's when I knew that I was going to like him. Because that was before
he was ever on TV or anything, right?
He was very rarely on TV at that point. But after that match, that's when I knew I was going to be a fan of his. And I still am to this day.
Yeah. We had the Waller effect.
Yes.
With Shawn Michaels.
I'm going to let you lead the conversation on this because Grayson Waller is your guy.
I just freaking love Grayson Waller. So he had this really cool thing. He did this live video on Instagram while he was in the ring. So I was watching the live video and I felt like I was getting behind the scenes because it was a little bit like before, because it has to, for you can't do anything bad. So like it has like it's a little setback and like 30 seconds behind or something on the TV.
Yeah.
But like it was just so cool. And I just think Grayson Waller is just
I think Grayson Waller has the skills to be a main player on the main roster. I think Grayson Waller would make a great thorn in the side for Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, it could kind of be like the watered down version of MJF, because that's kind of what I picture. And I only say I say watered down because WWE's PG.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not saying that Grayson Waller isn't as good as MJF, which I don't know if he really is mic wise, but I'm just saying like he's like the WWE watered down version. So that'd be a good. Because MJF was a good thorn in Cody Rhodes' side. In AEW, so. And
I just love the fact that MJF coined the phrase, the American roller coaster. I use that to this day.
Well, I know that basically this whole Waller effect thing was just talking about how Grayson Waller was not getting the respect that he deserves. So Shawn Michaels was like, okay, you want to get respect? You want to be Stand and Deliver?
Yeah.
You want to be on Stand and Deliver? I'm gonna get you somebody that bleeds NXT. That's the epitome of NXT.
Well, at first Waller called out Shawn Michaels for a match,
and I was like, please, no.
Yeah. No, I think HBK's done.
I would have.
Because he even mentioned he was like, so many people have approached me for dream matches, and just no.
Yeah. So but Shawn Michaels is like, you are going to fight Johnny Gargano at Stand Deliver. And that's like the perfect Johnny Gargano and Black and Gold era NXT. I don't think he can ever top that. Like Johnny Gargano, he's still excellent, but he was just at his peak of excellence. The way he was booked, the way he was wrestling, how he was much more brutal on Black and Gold NXT than he is now. Now he's a jokester, which maybe that's more him in real life because he's very pleasant in real life.
I do think there were shades of Black and Gold Johnny in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, well, whenever he came out of NXT, though, it was just pure Black and Gold NXT Johnny Gargano. No jokes, no,
he
BS.
just walked to the ring, stepped to Grayson Waller.
Yes, so I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, and I think that'll be a good match and the way that led into it was, I think we neglected to mention this, is Shawn Michaels was okay while Grayson Waller was running him down, but when he started to run down NXT was when Shawn Michaels had a problem.
He was like, no, that's not happening.
Yeah. And Grayson Waller even pulled out the line that got a big reaction on the crowd. He said, the only reason that you're in that chair back there is because your buddy had a heart attack.
Yes. Yes. I love when wrestling takes things from real life, brings it into the wrestling. I love that. We also, NXT was actually,
WWE overall had a pretty good week.
I'm going to say, honestly, NXT is probably my favorite show of the week.
Dude, you're not alone.
NXT,
you're not alone.
I have
that argument's picking up steam.
It was so good this week. We also had Duke Hudson. He got really angry at Chase U. He was yelling at Andre Chase. Yeah. And he was like, we are an institution of liars.
Yeah, he was like, we're frauds.
Yes.
And Thea Hale just is sitting there just like her whole world is crumbling. Like, could you imagine if this happened at a real university and you are like Thea Hale and you're standing there with like the head administrator, like one of the favorite students, and you're sitting there and you just paid thousands of dollars in tuition
been in her
money.
corner this whole time.
And you paid thousands of money into this institution because it's a college.
But now you're getting like the verbal abuse from Duke Hudson. He told her to grow up. He like all this other stuff.
And you've got him like saying this university's a fraud. Like Thea Hale's probably sitting there like, why did I spend all this money?
And the thing that happened was, so Chase used themselves. So like Andrew Chase.
That's a really good way to put it.
Yes, like Andre, whatever your name is, Andre Chase was in a match against the guy from Schism.
Joe Gacy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And then Thea Hale, of course, she was kidnapped recently by Schism. So Tyler Bate was working with her because Tyler Bate, for some reason, is teaming up with Chase U. Or Chase U came out to help him, that's why.
Yeah.
But he was trying to teach Thea Hale to just freaking relax because girl is just everywhere.
Yeah.
So she does this relaxation. She runs up to whatever the Rock's daughter's name is. Ava. Runs up to her and she's like, I'm not scared of you. You know, that's great, Thea. You couldn't do this when
after the match.
Right? You couldn't wait to say this until after the match was over because you literally cost Andre Chase the match, which is why Duke Hudson blew up yet again because Chase U always does something to screw themselves out of winning the match.
Yeah, and it's usually like being self-congratulatory.
Yes.
Which Duke Hudson referred to in his promo because he was like, we gave out a certificate for somebody winning one match.
So, yes. So, it...
Yes. I'm kind of excited for the Duke Hudson Andre Chase face-off because I actually really enjoy Chase U. I really like Andre Chase.
I do too. And then we had the main event, which was Mako Satomura versus Roxanne Perez.
Oh, you totally skipped over that 6-man with Braun and the Creed brothers against Indashir and Jinder Mahal, so that must not have done much for you.
I completely forgot about it, so no, it did not.
Yeah.
But I don't like Braun Breaker. He bores me. I don't like the Creed brothers. They're boring. I don't like the gorilla walk the one does to the ring. That's weird to me.
It reminds me of Donkey Kong.
I don't like those 3 men. So putting them together, of course I'm going to forget that match. Yeah. Who did they fight again?
Indashir and Jinder Mahal.
Jinder Mahal, I don't care about him. So, like, that match was people I just didn't care about. So I slipped my mind.
Well, before you go into the main event, there was one more segment that happened. Braun came out, and we essentially got... We have our match. Braun versus Carmelo Hayes at Stand and Deliver. I've called this for months. Yeah. And I think Carmelo Hayes is going to win.
Yeah.
And what I think is interesting, and this is going to go back to your boy, Grayson Waller, was during that promo... They talked about how they said that Shawn and Hunter sat them down and said that they were the 2 guys that were going to lead NXT. Well, earlier in the night, Shawn Michaels had told Grayson Waller, you've gotten the same opportunities as everybody else. What's Grayson Waller do after that segment? He tweets out the quote of, you've had the same opportunities as everyone else. Braun and Mello. Remember when Triple H and Michaels said that we were the guys? Like, I just love that Grayson Waller took that and
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, he took it and ran with it.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That's why Grayson Waller
I'm sorry, but if Carmelo is doing a match, he's great and all, but I like Trick Williams. That boy better be with him.
Oh, he'll have Trick with him.
I
love graphic,
Trick.
Trick's behind him.
I love Trick Williams.
Yeah. Trick Williams had they got good showing a week or 2 ago against Ilya Dragunov.
Yeah.
And we're definitely building something with Dragunov and JD McDonough. I'm interested in that as well.
Yeah, because JD McDonough is
those
so good.
Those 2 boys
But
can
of
go.
course JD McDonough's good. He was trained by Finn Balor.
Yeah.
I thought they were brothers, honestly. Remember whenever we first saw him whenever he wasn't JD?
He was Jordan Devlin. That's his real name.
Oh, what a fun name.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's why I love that his move's Devlin side.
Is
but
he
now
Irish?
It's just called the Devil.
Is he Irish?
Oh, yeah.
That sounds very
He's from the same town. He's from Bray County, Wicklow, Ireland. Like Bray is.
Bray?
Or Finn.
Oh, I was going to say Bray Wyatt.
I was thinking Bray County, Wicklow, Ireland is the name of the place. Well, that's what they always say.
Yeah.
But
Are you... Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. Let's talk about the main event.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was a good match between the 2, Mako and Roxanne. I mean, it was a really good match. And then the ending... Like,
you're making that face.
What? Like, so Roxanne Perez, like, I mean, Mako, like, really kept going after Roxanne's head, like, with all of her moves. So, like, Roxanne Perez collapsed after the match. It was a work, though, correct?
Yeah.
It would have to have been the way they handled it.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels is not going to put oxygen on somebody in a real life situation.
Well, he didn't even do it. He didn't know how to do it. Remember, he's like, I can't get this thing.
Oh.
But she collapsed, and then literally we watched the refs come out, and they called for paramedics. I kept wanting to say ambulance. They called for the paramedics, and the paramedics came. They took her out, and I really thought that like Jade. No, I keep wanting to say Jade. Cora Jade was going to come out and do something.
I saw people saying it's funny to read some of the live threads sometimes because I saw people saying like. Here, Cora Jade's going to come out and flip over the gurney.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Some people thought they was going to attack her on the gurney. Somebody thought that she was going to be driving the ambulance. Like,
and then they take her outside and get the ambulance. And the NXT parking lot is just not a safe place right now because all the women keep getting attacked.
Dude, that's been forever. That's where Aleister Black got attacked by Johnny Gargano.
Yes.
So the NXT parking lot's dangerous.
But nothing happened. She literally just got into the ambulance. And it's like, what the hell just happened? Some people theorize that maybe it was Alba Fire and Isla Dawn because they were doing their voodoo witch stuff. And then some people were like, no, Mako just
you just lost your string on your foot.
I did.
Some people theorized that like it was a way for Mako to still come
out on top.
Yeah, because she lost the match, but Roxanne literally pushed herself harder than she ever had to, and she collapsed.
And I mean, I guess that probably makes sense because that probably is the most logical thing in that scenario because they showed Mako training Roxanne, like, and all the women, like, it slowly dwindled down to where just Roxanne could withstand all the training that Mako was doing.
Yeah, and the way they set that up was interesting because Roxanne would be, like, heavy breathing and stuff, and Mako would just be stoic.
Yes. So it was a good match. The ending was weird, but I feel like once I know why it happened, I think it'll be fine. I think I'm just kind of like, what happened?
I'm interested to see where the ending takes us.
Yes. But overall, NXT, I think, was the show to watch this week.
There are people, there's a lot online, and they're growing, that are saying that NXT is the best weekly wrestling show on TV if you would give it a chance.
I wouldn't say the best every week, but this week it shined brighter than all the others, I think.
I feel like this week overall, WWE had a damn good week.
Yeah.
It was a good week.
I think everybody had a good.
Which I think for WWE, they have to. They're heading to WrestleMania. You should be having the best weeks of your year around this time.
Yeah.
So hats off to WWE with NXT and main roster stuff. What a fun week for WWE.
Yes.
A lot of fun stuff to watch, a lot of stuff to look forward to. So that would cover WWE. So shall we move on to AEW?
Yes.
All right, so AEW this week.
Juice, we're going to get Juice Robinson and Ricky Starks fighting.
Yeah, I love that you just dove in with that.
I am fine with that.
Yeah, that should be fun. I saw a lot of people online that were like, oh, Juice is a step down. You wanted him to stop feuding with Jericho. He's not feuding with Jericho anymore.
How is Juice a step down? He's part of the Bullet Club. He has nothing going on right now. He's proved that he can wrestle. You're just upset because it's not what you wanted.
Yeah. I have this conversation every week with a certain person.
Me? You have it with me too.
I
I'm
just
as guilty.
People, then.
I'm just as guilty. Whenever things don't go my way, I get annoyed. But then it's like I step back. I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah, because everybody right now is like, oh, Juice Robinson's a step down. Well, what if, because he's Bullet Club, he brings Jay White in? And what if we're building to Ricky Starks and Jay White? Then will all you people be happy?
Jay White doesn't go to WWE, I'll be happy. And no offense to WWE, I just do not want him watered down. He can't do the after, like the scrum thing where he's like cussing and somebody dropped his title at one point. He cussed him out. Like he can't do that in WWE. Heaven forbid you say shit, piss, anything.
Yeah, they've even started bleeping the crowd during Holy Shit chants, which kind of sucks. But.
Right? Like whenever Sami Zayn was doing his thing and the crowd was cussing.
Yeah.
We lost some of his promo because.
Yeah. I understand why they do it because it's sponsors and it's PG, but it
But at
sucks.
the same time, it's like, why are children up that late at night anyway? When we had the 5-year-old, she was in bed by 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because she was a grump ass the next day. So like, why are your children awake? And if you don't want your children to watch the cussing, and don't watch it. Don't have them watch it. Like, there's a simple solution.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I hate the PG era. Mainly because I'm not a PG type person. So, so yes. But then we have the women's thing, we have Ruby Soho, the heel.
Ruby Soho probably cut the best promo of her career.
She really did.
And I think it was because all of it was truth.
Yes.
People did shit on her when Britt Baker beat her in the Owen Hart Cup. People shit on her when Statlander, or when she beat Statlander.
Booed when she beat Statlander. I forgot about that until she mentioned it.
Yeah.
So, like, I like when heels real life experiences. I love that whenever wrestling does that.
Facts hit so much harder than fiction.
Yes.
They do.
Unless you don't believe facts, but.
Yeah. But it's true across the board. You know, when you insult somebody, what hurts worse? When you make something up about them, or when you tell them the truth straight to their face and they can't deny it?
Yeah.
The truth. The truth
I'm the
powerful.
worst at that.
Yeah.
I don't know when to keep my mouth shut sometimes, and I will say the truth to somebody and I will upset them.
Yeah.
I've done that so many times.
Facts are hard.
Yeah.
But
Ruby Soho had a match against Sky Blue, which was the Outcast, Ruby Soho, homegrown Sky Blue, and Sky Blue it was a good fight,
which we thought was gonna be a squash.
Yeah, and it wasn't. And then Willow Nightingale comes out because Willow and Ruby were the tag teams, and Ruby Soho literally just said "F you, Willow," and Saraya, and Toni Storm attacked Willow.
Yeah, and they're definitely expanding their attack on the originals too, because on Rampage they attacked Riho.
Yes.
No one came out to help Riho, though. Poor Riho.
Yeah.
Her little 98-pound was just getting owned by 3 women.
Yeah.
And Nyla Rose was just like, yeah, go. Which is interesting they didn't pick a fight with Nyla Rose.
Would you pick a fight with Nyla Rose?
No, I was just getting ready to say that was probably smart on their part to not pick a fight with Nyla Rose.
Yes.
But it definitely seems like we are building our originals team. So we've got Britt. So far, we've involved Britt, Jamie Hayter, Riho, Willow, and Sky Blue.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're definitely kind of building our team there. I know she's dealing with an injury right now, and no disrespect to Sky Blue, but I think we should switch out Sky Blue with Sheeta.
Oh,
to make that a little fun. Yeah, she's back in Japan now too.
I feel like Sky Blue deserves this though.
She does, but like she's not the threat like Sheeta is. Sheeta's a former world champion.
She has to be as much of a threat in a crowd.
Did you know that Sheeta is the longest reigning AEW Women's World Champion?
I did not. But did you hear what I said about Sky Blue? If she's in a crowd, she doesn't have to be the toughest and she's gonna have others to help her out.
No, I agree.
And I feel like Sky Blue is the perfect person for that because she's literally a homegrown talent.
Yeah. Well, if we're gonna use Sky Blue, let's use these next few weeks to build her up and get her some good wins.
I mean,
like we started to about a year ago. Remember when she was winning on Dark Elevation and was getting that push? Let's do that again. If you want to use Sky Blue, you've got to build her up to be on the same level as everybody else. Yeah. Because I just feel like she's not there.
Yeah. Well, then I just want to say, anytime House of Black shows up, that's a big deal to me. Yeah. Just their entrance is so cool.
So what happened here, I'm really interested to see what this looks like next week, because I don't think I've ever seen a match like this before. So they're having, the trios titles are going to be defended. Well, JAS won against Top Flight and AR Fox. And then they were like, we should be #1 contenders. And I was like, you won one match, but okay, it's Jericho's group.
Jericho,
it makes sense.
Yeah.
They don't care about that stuff.
No.
So what we're going to have is we're going to have House of Black versus...
Well, because what happened was after they said that, the lights went out and you thought House of Black was coming out, but it was the Elite.
Yeah, Carry On Wayward Son hit.
And it was just so funny how the first thing Kenny Omega says is, hello, Chris.
Yeah.
And then Don Callis took the damn microphone.
Yeah. Don Callis, yeah.
That's what I just said.
I thought you said Dalton Castle at first and I was confused.
No.
But no, so they come out, they cut their promo, and they're talking about, Kenny and Jericho, both from Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Which I thought they were going to have a one-on-one.
Yeah.
In Winnipeg was what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
But I was off base. Because what happened after that was House of Black comes out.
Can Jericho hang with Kenny one-on-one now, though? I know he did in 2018, but now can he hang one-on-one?
I think he could.
You think so?
I think he could.
Okay.
He hung with Starks.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. And Kenny's so good. Kenny can still help Jericho look like $1 million if he needs to. But I think Jericho would hold his own fine.
Yeah.
But no, we're gonna have a triple threat trios match. So we're gonna have the Elite, House of Black, Jericho Appreciation Society.
I'm here for that.
And I feel like there's going to be so many people out at the ring. Because the Elite's going to have Brandon Cutler and Don Callis. Well, Don Callis normally goes to commentary, so we'll take not Don Callis out. Sometimes Nakazawa's out there. Mm-hmm. JAS is probably going to have, well, Sammy and Daniel Garcia are the ones teaming with Jericho, but Menard and Angela Parker are probably going to be out there.
Yeah.
House of Black's going to have Julia Hart out there. Mm-hmm. So during this match, there's going to be like 16 people out at the ring. I am really excited for Brandon Cutler's footage for being the Elite after that match.
I love the being the Elite footage that they put up there.
Yeah, so I'm very interested to see if it looks as haphazard from his point of view as I feel like it's going to be.
And I love whenever Julia Hart's around for this because, well, at least the one time where like Brandon Cutler ran away from the House of Black and she just picked up the camera. Like, I don't know, I love it. Mm-hmm. But I'm very excited for that match. It's either going to be a cluster or fantastic.
Yeah.
It could go either way, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. So let's talk about. I see what's next on your list, so let's talk about it.
Bryan Danielson. Was it a promo? It wasn't a promo, really.
It was.
It was.
It was. A promo? Yeah, it was a promo. Anytime you're just talking,
he just was talking about how during the Iron, and he was still bloody.
Yeah, this was definitely right after the match.
Because we had MJF do a promo earlier in the night, correct?
Yeah, because he's coming back to Dynamite next week.
Yes.
To figure out who his challenger is going to be.
Which, side note, if you guys have not seen this, MJF did a list of his opponents. And he did, like, Jungle Douche or something.
Jungle Jabroni.
Yes.
Emo Cowboy, I think, was one of them. Adam Cole's was bad. Adam Cole's was... Adam, my brain's broken, so I can't code Cole.
MJF just does such a good job of crossing the line, and I love it. But anyway, Bryan Danielson's promo is basically talking about how MJF was right. He was wrestling the match. He never gives up. That's his thing. He never taps out. He never gives up, but he did tap out in the Iron Man match against MJF. And he was just talking about he did it because he felt like he was putting himself before his family. And it was just, he just kept going on and on about this. And I'm pretty sure I got tears in my eyes because he was just the way he said at the end, he was just like, I need to go home. And just the way he said it, his voice cracked. It sounded like he was like crying. And it was just, and he just got up and left. And whenever he did that, I was like, oh my God, did he just freaking retire? Like, and you were like, no, calm down.
No, he's just going away for a little bit.
But it was just the way he did that. I was just, oh my, don't you feel like that was very like soul wrenching?
Yeah. I mean,
just the way, and if I'm me telling you about it, it doesn't sound that soul wrenching.
No,
you have to go watch it because he just had so much emotion and he just looked so distraught and he was so mad at himself, and it was just, oh my God, Bryan Danielson, why are you so good? And I am so mad I didn't realize you were this good until you got to AEW. I didn't realize I never understood why people love Bryan Danielson as much in WWE. I never understood that. But goddamn, I see it now.
Yeah.
He is so good. Ugh, I loved it. I loved that promo. My show of the week was NXT. The promo, I think, that you should absolutely check out this week if you don't want to check out anything else, Bryan Danielson's. Because that is just...
And me putting my fantasy booking hat on, I'll make it brief. I think you bring Danielson back to fight a heel Blackpool Combat Club.
Which ties in perfectly because Blackpool Combat Club turned heel this week. And it makes sense. They're all very brutal.
Yeah.
You have Moxley, you have Claudio, you have Wheeler Yuta, which Wheeler Yuta I wouldn't think was that tough, but the last match he had, he looked a lot more brutal. So I think they're going to be a very good heel team.
Yeah.
Faction? Are they a faction?
Yeah, they're a faction.
What's considered a faction? 3 or more?
Just a group of people.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 or more.
So it was, yeah, I'm here for this.
Yeah, and I think Blackpool Combat Club should kind of take the place of the Jericho Appreciation Society as the top heel faction on AEW.
Well, the funny thing is, though, is that I'm kind of thinking that they might make an appearance on Ring of Honor because Claudio and Wheeler Yuta have all these ties to Ring of Honor, and how it would be good to get Moxley onto Ring of Honor because that would up the viewers too.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense for him to kind of make an appearance or something in Ring of Honor based on because aren't they? Isn't Claudio
is Ring of Honor World Champ, and Wheeler Yuta is Ring of Honor Pure Champ.
So I feel like Blackpool Combat Club is going to have to kind of intermingle more on Ring of Honor instead of just AEW.
Yeah.
So, which I'm here for. Another reason why I've just decided we're going to get Honor Club.
Okay.
God damn it, another streaming service. I won't do the thing where I get rid of other streaming services in a panic.
Okay.
But I do want Ring of Honor, the Honor Club thing.
Okay. But we've built to, we're still, Hangman said he was done with Moxley, but Hangman still seems to be hanging around, mainly because Blackpool Combat Club is feuding with Dark Order.
Yeah.
Which I'm so conflicted, because I'm ready for Moxley and Hangman to move on from each other, but I love that the Dark Order is on TV.
Yes.
I'm so conflicted.
It's like they were so confused with what to do with Dark Order after Brody Lee passed away.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, they get a good reaction. People are behind them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think that you should do more with them.
Yeah.
Well, you want to talk about the main... Was this the main event?
It was.
Wardlow?
It was. And,
so, let's talk about Wardlow.
Oh, poor Wardlow.
I don't understand why... So, it was Powerhouse Hobbs versus Wardlow for the TNT Championship. Wardlow just won it, last week?
He had it 4 days.
That's even worse. He had his title 4 flipping days, and he lost the match to Powerhouse Hobbs and lost it. Like, what has Wardlow done backstage to cause people to be so pissed off at him that he gets a title for 4 days?
Wardlow's a sad story. And Wardlow, usually when people start talking to me negatively about AEW, they lead off with Wardlow, and I will admit it is a great argument. Wardlow was probably one of the biggest baby faces they had after he beat MJF. And now he is a 4-day reign transitional champion. Someone done fucked up.
I'm going to be honest. I feel like Wardlow might fare better on WWE.
You know, I've often thought that.
Yeah. It's not that I want him to leave AEW, but if he... And I don't know behind the scenes. For all I know, Wardlow could be taking time off, or he's hurt, or something's going on. You know what I mean? For all we know, that could have been why he lost the title the way he did. But if there was no reason like that, you're treating Wardlow badly, and he should go somewhere else that will respect him more.
Yeah, I do agree. I think Wardlow would work well in WWE because they could.
What? You agree with me?
Yeah,
you never agree with me.
Because one of the things that people think that Wardlow has trouble with is his promos. Well, NXT will help him fix that.
Does he have trouble with his promos?
I feel like he's gotten much better, but I could see where people in the beginning thought that he really could. A lot of people pointed to like Wardlow's world being kind of a dumb little catchphrase, but you know.
What? It's like Wayne's. Isn't it Wayne's World or something? That movie? Yeah. That's what I thought it was a play off that.
I always think of maybe it's because Wardlow sounds like Wario, but I always associate it with like a Mario thing.
Oh, I always thought of Wayne's World. Because he, just the way he acts. I don't know. But.
Now I'm imagining Wardlow as like a Wayne Campbell type, and it's just not working for me.
Oh, is that Wayne's World?
Yeah.
I was going to say, I know the show, or I know the movie, but I haven't watched it in years and years
Oh,
and years.
man, I just rewatched them the other day. I should have waited and had you watch them with me.
Oh,
They're great.
I'm good.
What? You're not going to disparage Wayne's World on this channel.
Oh, I'm definitely not. It's just I'm too laser focused on Real Housewives and The Sims for anything else.
Yeah. Well, basically, Powerhouse Hobbs got help from QT Marshall,
and Taylor Swift.
Which was Taylor Swift didn't help Powerhouse Hobbs. The way you threw that in there. But no, Powerhouse Hobbs got help from QT Marshall. I saw a lot of people saying oh, QT Marshall's low-level heel, why? I had forgotten until QT Marshall said it. This was teased a while ago on Elevation where he tried to get Powerhouse Hobbs in the factory and Powerhouse Hobbs turned him down.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, if you're confused, the YouTube shows do help. I know a lot of people time for that. Well, apparently, if it's going to factor in.
I mean, we haven't watched it the past couple of weeks. We just haven't had time.
No, and look what it's done. We totally forgot why QT Marshall was relevant to the story.
Yes. But I'm not going to shit on this yet because yes, QT Marsh is he Marshall or is he still Marshall?
I don't know. I've heard both.
Okay.
I'm at the point now where I'm not going to shit on Powerhouse Hobbs as TNT champion because I love Powerhouse Hobbs He does deserve to be champion.
Yeah, absolutely.
What I am going to shit on is how Wardlow has been treated.
Yes, I'm not going to shit on QT Marshall, whatever he's going by nowadays. I'm not going to shit on
No, because he does his job well. He gets the heat he needs to get.
If the factory broke up, you got to give something else for him to do. So heaven forbid QT Marshall step up and try to get on, doing something else. Heaven forbid.
Yeah. And this QTV thing, we're trying something different.
I know.
Stop let's see where it goes, and then you can shit on it. Like with me, like with Wardlow's treatment, I was always like, let's see what happens. Well, I've seen what happens, and I'm going to agree. I don't like the way Wardlow's been booked.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact, whatever he lost, I did not think he was going to lose. And it was like a 9 count, and I was like, oh man, because he lost by a count out, by 10 count.
Yeah, he couldn't answer a 10 count.
So it was like a 9 count, and I was like, oh, he's going to jump out of that. Nothing. And I was like, this is horseshit. This is horseshit.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mainly because Wardlow is so appreciative of the fans, and it's like, you're going to cause fans to kind of like lose interest in him with how you're booking him. So like,
that makes me wonder. I wonder how many people told Wardlow on the cruise that they didn't think that he was booked as well as he could be.
I don't know.
Because he talked about all the love and support that he got. So I wonder if a lot of people told him like, hey, you deserve better. Like,
yeah,
with how you've been booked.
I wonder if he's going to go heel, maybe? Could this be a way for him to turn heel?
Where are you going to fit him in? There's so many heels.
I have no clue. I guess I'm just trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. But deep down, I think they're just screwing him over.
I'm thinking this might be a way to send Wardlow down to Ring of Honor.
Oh.
Maybe. Because Ring of Honor doesn't really have many, like, big men.
No, is Brian... No, Brian Cage isn't there anymore, is he? He left.
Brian Cage, his contract's getting ready to run out.
Yeah.
And they want to extend it because of injury. But he wants to play the free agent market. I think he's looking for a big payday from WWE.
Yeah.
Which...
I
could see why the big men would want to do that, because it does seem like the booking big men is a weakness for Tony Khan.
I mean, I don't blame him. I wouldn't really know how to book the big men but that's not my style though.
Honest to God, I can't believe I'm saying this. I think the big man that might be booked the best as far as ways to use him in AEW is Satnam Singh.
Or Samoa Joe. Well, you don't really see... Well, he's on Ring of Honor, though. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I would say, like, Satnam Singh is the one that's used the best.
Yeah.
And it's not because he's winning championships or anything like that. It's just this is what he does.
Yeah.
Rampage this week had some good stuff. Normally we don't have a lot to say about Rampage, but we'll just run it down really quickly here because we've been at this a while.
Yeah.
Sammy Guevara, Action Andretti, great match.
But I just want...
Ending kind of let me down.
I just want... So, Sammy Guevara, he had assistance from a Jericho Appreciation Society member, Daniel Garcia, and it's like, I just want the JAS to win a match without any interference, without any help. Like, I'm so over the interference with him. Like, I'm so over that. But, yeah.
Jungle Boy is ready to move on from Christian. He clearly said... I'll see you in a different life.
Right, and we were theorizing maybe MJF based on the MJF's list that he made. So, yeah.
I'm fine with that. I am totally fine with that.
We got to see Starboy Charlie.
Because there's been signs a couple weeks in AEW that said sign Starboy Charlie.
Who's like, I'm assuming is a big indie wrestler. Or he's big in the indie scene.
Yeah.
But it was a squash match with the Acclaimed, and I was kind of disappointed because I wanted to kind of see. I'm just going to probably have to search on YouTube for him.
Yeah, you have to find him. You have to find him.
We had Preston Vance against...
Well, after the Acclaim's match, they're still trying to recruit the Acclaimed into the Jericho Appreciation Society. So I'm wondering what's going to happen there. We'll see.
I don't think that they'll go with them.
No, I don't think the Acclaimed will join them.
I think that would be a fun feud, though, with the Acclaimed, like Max Caster rapping and just how theatrical the Jericho Appreciation Society is. I think that'd be a good feud. I just hope it doesn't go on for too long, because their feuds tend to go on for way too long.
Well, this feud on the cruise was what led to Cool Hand getting washy-washy chants.
He got washy-washy chants?
On the cruise.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Max Caster started that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But then we had Preston Vance, which Who did he wrestle? Oh,
Takeshita.
Yes, which one thing that I thought was really cool, I never noticed that like scarf thing he wears around his neck. I thought that it was like a scarf.
Yeah.
And then somebody at the announce table said that it was the masks of all the lucha wrestlers that he has fought, and he's taken their mask. And I'm like, that's a nice little touch. I like it.
Yeah. And then he wrestled Takeshita, and you asked me, you said, why is he wrestling Takeshita? Takeshita doesn't wear a mask.
Right? And then I don't agree who won the match. I love Takeshita, but I thought we were telling a story with him where he kept losing and he kept getting more aggravated. I thought that was the story. So
yeah, I thought he was going to lose.
Derailed the story.
I thought he was going to lose to Vance, and then Don Callis.
Because Preston Vance needs that win. And Takeshita had a story going. So why did we just stop the story and have him win? Yeah.
Yeah. AEW booking gets weird sometimes.
Yes. And I guarantee you we're going to continue that story with him. Maybe. But at the same time, it's like, well, why? You already derailed that. Like, he won a match. So
I mean, he didn't win it decisively. But I'm with you. I probably still would have had him lose.
Right?
Vance could have used that win, and we could have advanced to
because every time he loses, he used to like very chill.
Yeah,
and
he
every
would
time
shake
he loses,
hands.
right? And now he just gets more and more disgruntled. He said he was going to go back to Japan, like, and then he wins.
Yeah.
What was the point of that?
Yeah, I don't understand either. And then we had the main event. Nyla Rose and Riho.
Yes.
Nyla Rose and Riho always put on good matches.
I actually said during this match that I wish I would have appreciated Riho when she was the champ, because whenever she first won the champ, whenever she was the first one, because she was the first women's champ. So, of AEW. So, when she won that, I didn't know who she was. I didn't know why she had the title. I didn't see the big deal in her. Now, though, after seeing her for all these years, I kind of wish I would have appreciated her more. Because she's so good. She's so tiny. She's so good. She's been going at it since she was 9 years old. I just wish I would have given her more appreciation.
Yeah.
What is that saying? I wish on one hand, shit in the other.
Yeah. See which one fills up first. Yeah.
I'm surprised I got that saying right. I always butcher sayings.
So we also had a promo with Swerve. Swerve's apparently going to be a cannibal now and eat Keith Lee.
Yeah, he's a cannibal.
It's not really what he said, but
he technically did. He said that he's a cannibal and he only sees food.
Yeah.
And I was like, same, but I'm a fat kid.
Let's just get Swerve and Keith Lee in the ring together soon. Although I'm not saying that I have anything against a Swerve promo. I'm always down for a Swerve promo. But I'm just ready for the match between the two.
Yeah. Well, that was your beef last week, too. But remember, Keith Lee was hurt.
I know. So, it's not
and
anybody's
of course,
fault.
Tony Khan does not know how to just keep moving forward. He disrupts everything, and then he has to bring it back in. And it's then people like you, well, not people like you, but like you, people are like, why? Like, I want this to happen already.
Perfect example of how you pivot, and then we'll wrap up. The perfect example of how to pivot was done by Triple H in NXT when Aleister Black got hurt, and he pivoted and turned that into a entire month-long whodunit.
Right, when he got attacked in the NXT parking lot.
You don't go to the NXT parking lot.
No.
Like, if we're ever in Orlando, we're not going in that parking lot because bad things will happen.
I mean, I definitely might creep.
Yeah, but bad things will happen. Someone will attack us. But that's going to do it for this week. I think AEW...
What was your show of the week?
My show of the week? Probably... Oh, man, that's tough.
Well, it might be harder for you because you were at SmackDown, so you probably want to pick SmackDown because you were there.
And I got Cody.
Yeah.
Live, and I didn't think I was going to.
SmackDown is typically my favorite show of the week, but something about NXT this week.
NXT brought it this week.
It flew by.
Well, it was a special show, too.
It was Roadblock. Yeah.
Man, I think I'm going to have to give the edge to NXT as well.
Yeah.
AEW...
I'd probably say that was the weakest this week.
AEW...
Minus Bryan Danielson.
Coming out of the pay-per-view that they had, I expected a little more.
Yeah.
There's still some good stuff going on.
Yeah, Bryan Danielson.
But I think what happened to Wardlow really hurt AEW.
Yes, I agree.
And I hate to hang an entire week's worth of wrestling on one thing, but that with Wardlow is so egregious. I just can't. I can't move
big
past
words.
It. Unacceptable.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'll have to have like a definition of what egregious means because I don't know what it means.
Okay. Well, that's going to be our show this week. So we will be back next week.
Yes.
For This Week in Wrestling. We have talked. The Twitch streams seemed to go well.
Yes,
for
it was fun.
For Revolution.
We had a couple people talking to us on Twitch.
And what we've done is before, that was done through Susan's Twitch.
Yeah.
I have actually made a Twitch for the podcast. So once we get that finalized and get the profile built and everything, we'll put that post in we'll put the link to that in our socials so you can follow us.
And what we'll do is we'll probably, instead of doing reviews like this after pay-per-views, we'll probably just live stream the pay-per-views.
Yeah, I think that's going to end up working better for us.
Yeah.
Plus, you can get our immediate thoughts. You don't have to wait. You can watch with us. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
And also on the podcast Twitch, Tuesday, I broke down and I ordered WWE 2K23. So I will be broadcasting on Twitch playing that.
That's fine.
So you can see the features, see what's going on. If you do tune in, know that I customize everything. So if you're tuning in to watch me customize my wrestlers, settle in for a couple hours because I'm very picky. I do custom movesets. I do custom entrances.
It is cool to watch you do it, though.
Yeah, I customize everything.
Yeah.
So you'll have that to look forward to. And I will try to... A lot of people have schedules. I don't really do schedules because I just Twitch when I feel like it. Which I know doesn't help. If you have a schedule, people can plan around it. And I just do it when I feel like it. And I haven't been on Twitch for a while. I haven't been on my personal Twitch for a little bit because I just haven't felt like it. A lot of it, too, is because I've been playing Xbox 360. I just didn't feel like streaming it. But I will be streaming 2K23 when it comes out. I will try to do some of the other stuff. I'll try to Twitch stream me playing the John Cena Showcase so you can see what that looks like. I'm very interested because normally the Showcase is about being that person and winning in those moments. And from what I understand, the Showcase for John Cena this year is about beating John Cena in every single opportunity. So that's interesting. So keep an eye on the lookout for that.
I just stream The Sims.
Yeah. So we'll try to put all that information up on follow Susan's Twitter and the podcast of the Twitter or the Twitter's the podcast Twitter. Jesus.
And that is, what is that? Figures and Flippy S.
Yeah.
So, yeah, follow us on Instagram, on Twitter.
On Twitch, it's also Figures and Flippy S as well.
And if you go to our, if you go to our Twitter, Figures and Flippy S, there is a link tree, and you can see all of the socials that we have listed, and just give us a follow.
Yeah.
Talk to us.
Yeah, for sure.
Or else.
Yeah. But that's going to do it for this week. So everybody have a good weekend. Enjoy the wrestling that you watch.
And remember.
Go ahead.
Wrestling is a community.
Later.